Hello. Right on time, or I guess a few seconds early, whichever you prefer. Unlike last time, I actually had everything ready in time. And in fact, today's been going a lot smoother um, than the weekend did and than last week did, which feels good. Feels great. The weather's nice, even though there's a wind advisory in effect. That has a really good effect on my mood. Last time when I was streaming, I was surprised that I was able to like maintain good spirits more or less because the weather really sucked, and that tends to put a really big dent in my attitude towards well everything. In fact, it's it's so bad that I've actually been formally diagnosed with seasonal depression. What was it called? Seasonal affective disorder, and I legitimately have a hard time doing menial daily things when it is really gray and wet outside. So I'm glad that it's not that today. In fact, I was actually able to get some video editing done earlier, and felt like the sort of creative juices were flowing in my head, um, which felt good because it felt like I was making real progress and I wasn't missing anything when I was editing. You know. In fact, I might do a little bit more later because I'm feeling so good about it. You know. Please wait a moment. I am waiting several moments, in fact. Okay, there we go. But there is no shortage of things to talk about. It seems like there's been a new source of news to sort of step in where the Republican Party in the U.S. used to occupy that slot. Um, in lieu of the right wing in America not really being able to do its thing anymore, the right wing in a lot of other countries has sort of stepped up its game and been getting a lot more international news. And there's also been a lot of stuff happening on like the political corners of the internet that I think is important to uh, sociological stuff, that kind of discourse. Insert meme about leftist hating men or whatever. I'll get to that in a second though. Let's get a nice warm up race. I can talk about some of the smaller stuff that's been going on. Fry Bowser, a man of culture, I see. I don't know if going up there is faster. I don't think it is. Maybe you get an item or something. Okay, I messed that up a little bit. Oh, did you get hit? You might have gotten hit. I'm pretty sure this is off-road. This track is really fun. Um, but yeah, there's been some stuff going on in my life that has nothing to do really with like politics or discourse or whatever. That's just made me happy because it makes me feel like I'm actually living a little bit. Um, I haven't really gone to many social events, but I did recently. I rode my e-bike over to a little commercial outlet near my house, and I went into the dry cleaners and I got a few pairs of pants tailored. Now they're not done yet. The guy behind the counter told me like, yeah, it's gonna be probably um, until Thursday. Like, come back on Thursday and they'll be done and stuff. So I was like, okay, and I gave him my phone number, and so then on by the end of the week, I'll have 3 pairs of long pants that actually fit me really well. The when I went to the store to get those pants to begin with, they had a good pants length. They were the right length for my legs, but they were not the right width. They were way too wide, and didn't fit super well in that respect. Um, so by the end of the week, that's going to be rectified. which will be great. Hear the wind howling out there. No, Squeaker, god dang it. My cat is clawing up my nice chair, but there's not much I can do about that right now. Okay, now let me go get her. Squeaker. There we go. Squeaker, you're gonna have to hang out outside of my room for the rest of the stream, okay? Nice. Okay. And of course, I made sure that these, before I went and got them tailored, I made sure that the pairs of pants that I had were, mid-rise. You know, there's like, I learned about this recently, and by happenstance, I was on the correct side of things here, for what I want myself to look like. There's low-rise pants, there's mid-rise pants, and there's high-rise pants. High-rise pants are the ones that come up, I think, beyond your belly button or whatever. And then low-rise pants are the ones that don't quite come up past your waistline. And then mid-rise pants don't quite come up to your belly button, but they go up past the waistline. So there's like a little bit of they go a little bit up your stomach, just right to below your belly button. And I have heard that those pants are good for making your butt look nice. And I want to have a butt that looks nice, so wear those pants. Luckily, a lot of my shorts are mid-rise as well. These are like basketball shorts. But, you know, shorts aren't form-fitting. Unless they're, I guess, bicycle shorts? But I don't own any of those, so... I'm driving so weird. Okay, you have you win. Give me that mushroom. Yes! That was really lucky. Ah, what? I got owned by the table. Dang. Oh, dude. The homie. EWT89. Ooga booga! Ah. Still bouncing around over there. I'm probably just gonna use these mushrooms right here. Get an item. Yeah, okay. I think that was worth it. Because now I have protection from red shells, but I don't have protection from blue shells, which I don't need because I'm not in first. Oh, where's he going? Okay. Okay. I guess I win again. I win the race! Dr. Robotnik would be proud. Seven players. We got a decent sized room. This is cool. I've, Wee Wheeler bumped me into the aquarium area. Oh, okay, I gotcha. That's why everyone just kind of died at the end, I guess. Yeah. It's unfortunate that route is slower, you know? Because it's really scenic, but I don't know, I guess if you need to go out of your way to get an item, then it's good, but yeah. I've been playing a lot of Street Fighter 6 over the past few days. I got that game, I want to say about like 6 months or so after it came out. It's like 6 to 8 months after Street Fighter 6 had come out, I decided to get it because I had saw some people playing it. I think it was the Reeds YouTube channel. They were playing Street Fighter 6, and I was like, this game seems like it's really fun. So I picked it up. And it's hard to get into, but I've been learning steadily. This is actually my first traditional fighting game ever that I've ever played. And it is a way, way different experience having to use a keyboard versus having to use a GameCube controller. Because I've only ever played Smash Bros. Before that. So it's quite different. But it's actually started to feel more and more natural as time goes on, which is really nice. You know? Lee. Okay. This track is hard as hell. Alright, that's gonna get a lot harder on the next lap, I think, as the thing, geyser comes up. I think that was a pretty smart place to use the shock, because I didn't get as much of a boost from those boost panels as I would have ordinarily. Good stuff. Gonna do this. I think if I manage to drive this track without falling off, I more or less have this in the bag. Because melting magma melee is like just that difficult, you know? There we go, don't get messed up by my own banana. Give me an item box, please. Thank you. Yeah. In Street Fighter, particularly, I've more or less decided that I'm gonna be playing Ryu and like Juri, maybe. I mean, I did like the full combo trial with Ryu, and I did a decent amount of the combo trial with Juri, so I kind of know what I'm doing as those characters. Oh, that was so smart. That was the smartest place to use the shock, I think. Okay. Oh my god! Ah! I was afraid that would happen. Okay. Well, if I can't get first, second would be fine. Okay. How many blue shells did I get hit by? 4? 3? It was a lot. But ultimately, I'm really satisfied with the way I drove that race. I think the only thing that would have stopped me from getting first, even despite the target shocks and the blue shells, was the fact that I fell off on the one section where the boost panels are on that like vertical road. So really good, really good. I've been disc error, come on. No, I hate when that happens. I actually a couple streams ago, I think I got that. Like It was the stream that I had to like end really early or something. I got a disk error, and had to restart my console. And then another time, I think it was just last stream maybe. No, it was the stream before. My Wii U straight up crashed, and it hard crashed. Like I couldn't turn it off by holding the power button. So I had to physically unplug it and then plug it back in. Fortunately, I think the CTGP people have like made it so that you don't lose VR when you disconnect, right? And I wouldn't care about that for myself, but I know there are people who are like more into Mario Kart Wii competitively, and I think that's a design thing that doesn't necessarily need to be kept, that you lose VR every time your internet dies. So that's good, I think. Because, like, you don't want to punish people in-game, even if it's, like, a fairly meaningless thing that is interpreted as a punishment. You don't want to make line go down in your game just as a result of unavoidable real-life circumstances, if you can avoid it, you know? So kudos to Mr. Bean and Chatters, or whoever's on the dev team for CTGP these days. So far, so good. This might be the best I've done on Glacier Mines so far, because I usually have a really hard time on this track. Okay, I'm now satisfied with the item that I have. Okay. Nice. Nice, didn't lose VR. I was saying nice because we all got powed and like got fucked up on the one bridge there, which is funny to me. All right. All right. And I don't have a mushroom, so I think there's some of these parts that I can't really do. Here's a blue shell. And, oh, I'm on the track! Whew! Let's go. That's kind of wild that I was able to stay on the track despite that. Ah, blue shell. Just stay on the nice white road here, so as to not lose so much traction. I think you have to have a mushroom to do that, so I'm not going to do that. Okay. Oof. Really satisfied with how I drove there, despite getting wheelie bumped a couple of times, which was quite silly. I played it safe, and that ended up working out. And of course, the banger music to complement things. Nintendo, please don't sue me for copyright infringement or whatever. That's the small things out of the way, which is really nice. I guess now I actually did realize before stream started, or rather right after I did the last stream, I realized I didn't end up talking about the things that were in the title of that stream, because I got sidetracked talking about other stuff, some of which I will make into a YouTube segment. That ought to be fun. But I guess the first thing is the Twitch rule change. A little while ago, Twitch changed its rules to allow what it called artistic nudity on the platform and some sexual content that was not hardcore pornography. You know, you can show booba, you can show booty, but you can't literally have sex. At least that was the new rule set until recently they reneged on those changes and went back. Which, I guess I should have predicted that, because, you know, Twitch is a platform where there are a lot of people who are underage viewing content. And that wouldn't necessarily be a deterrent if it weren't for the fact that that's also part of its brand image. You know, obviously there are people who are underage who go on porn sites and watch porn there, but like those are porn sites, and it's like that's not the demographic they're trying to appeal to straight up. And so I think this more than anything has to do with like um, Twitch still wants to be like a good place to invest money, and it's not as safe of a ground for investment if it's a kid-friendly platform supposedly where you can actually see like softcore porn and whatever. And I'll stand by what I said when the rule change was initially announced, you know, before they reneged on it, that I do think that there is a proper way to do that. And I think Twitch was like on its way to doing that. Like the whole 18 plus tag and the like, oh, this contains sexual content tag that you would specifically have to look for. Um, you know, if they were to keep the rule change, I think that's a very smart way to do it. Um, but you know, they ended up not uh, keeping that. So, oh well. Now, does this mean there won't be any sexual content on Twitch? No. As long as there are certain things that will uh, still be on Twitch that would be in some way, shape, or form sexual. It's just going to be less. So there's not going to be any nudity and whatever. There might still be some equivalent of like the hot tub streams and stuff and booba because people will pay money for booba. But for Twitch, I think if I'm getting inside the mind of a Twitch business person or like somebody working there in the marketing department, what's important to them is the brand image, and like overtly allowing that makes that part of their brand image, and I don't think they want that. Whoa, this is the goofiest lap 3. Am I back? I think I'm back. Yeah, my internet just petered out for some fucking reason. I got disconnected in first place, and I guess I won the race or something. Right as I was saying that that was a very goofy lap 3. I dropped a bunch of frames. Alright, cool, cool, I'm back. Geez, that sucks. I'm gonna have to... I actually don't know what the source of that issue is. I don't know what is causing my internet to die like that on occasion. You know? Because I have a wired connection. It shouldn't be, like, this unstable. Unless it's a problem with, like, the regional power grid or the regional, like, internet providers and stuff, which, in that case, there's, like, nothing I can do about that. Hopefully I can get back into the same room I just left. I mean, there was a decent number of people in that room. Let's try this again. Oh, dang. So yeah, so much for Twitch sexy stuff. You're only getting me? Okay, okay. I gotcha. I think the trick to like joining a room that's already active is that you have to do it while they're in the race, like during the time that they're racing. Um Maybe I just have to wait a little bit. Let me see the Weemfi servers. Ah, jeez. Weemfi servers. What do we got? Well, there's no obvious link to how many people are online there. I guess what I could do is probably just go to regular worldwides. I'll do that for now. Do a couple races of that. That ought to be some nice stuff. And then I'll come back to custom tracks. Okay, here we go. The other thing that I didn't talk about last stream that was in the title was the housing crisis 2 or 3 or 4, whatever version of the housing crisis we're on. There's going to be another one, right? There's a confluence of factors that are all like coming together in the worst possible way to be like, hey, do you want to buy a house? Well, too bad, because you don't make enough, and also Google already owns the house that you were going to buy, and also they have no intention of actually selling the house, and also you're going to rent forever, and there's nothing you can do from stopping them from raising the rent, and also L plus ratio, and also more people are homeless, and fucking, like, etc., etc. Not great. I'll start with the latest detail, and then I'm going to work my way backwards a little bit. There's a CBS News article. This is from 3 days ago. Homelessness in America reaches record level amid rising rents and end of COVID aid. More than 650,000 people experienced homelessness on a single night in January, a 12% jump from 2022. Which is the highest number since the country began using the yearly point-in-time survey in 2007. So literally as high as it's ever been that we've been, like, recording. Let's see here. Yeah, rents have gone up, obviously, because there's nothing stopping that from happening. And, you know, the market, etc., etc. And I think I talked about that now there are, like, big, giant corpos getting into the housing market and buying houses and just sitting on them and not selling them so they can just charge rent forever, which, by the way, is part of the reason that rents are going up. Thank you. Because fucking big companies do this with all kinds of real estate. They do it with residential and commercial real estate. They'll buy it up, and then because they expect a guaranteed fucking return on investment, they just sit on it. They don't ever intend to sell it. They just want it to accumulate value over time infinitely. And when that doesn't work, they keep sitting on it. And like they hold on and hold on and hold on and hold on until there's no, like, possible way for them to keep holding on. And then eventually their books kind of, like, cave in on themselves or whatever. They lose a ton of money and they go whining to the government to try to bail them out. You know? And a lot of it is because, like, not only are they losing money on their like real estate stuff and whatever, right? But because rents are going up, especially in like housing, people can't afford to buy them, you know? No company is buying commercial real estate because it's not profitable. Nobody's selling commercial real estate because that means admitting that they've lost money. Nobody's buying housing because they can't fucking afford it. And nobody's selling housing because the people that would have housing to sell are either, like, homeowners who are just living there till the day they die, or they're, like, giant corpos who want to just rake in rent month after month, year after year, and make their profit that way. They have no reason to sell. You know? Because they're engaging in this business model with, like, the least possible short-term risk, and the most possible leverage, that's gonna fuck the housing market in the long term, and people are gonna get booted out of their houses, for not being able to pay rent because the rents are increasing, but wages aren't. You know. And of course, I know that sounds doomer pill, but the two ways that this can reset, right? There's two things that could happen. Number one is like real estate crash, which I think is basically inevitable. This happens, like boom bust cycle, etc., etc. That's going to happen at some point. But then also, what could happen, what should happen, is new financial regulations and stuff and laws to sort of prevent these patterns from emerging in the first place. You know, preventing corporations from like buying up all this housing and stuff. And of course, rent control being another big one that can sort of keep the rents down because it like maintains a frame of reference. You know, like the idea of rent control, right, as it affects like the economy around it, is that if you have like government provided housing, if you have like public housing projects, and then you say you can't charge more rent than this much per month, you know, that fixed rent rate is going to affect the rest of the houses around that. You know, because if it's decent enough housing and somebody tries to charge you a ton of rent, then, you know, people will say, well, why would I move here? I could live in this other housing area. Maybe it's not as good, but the rent is a lot lower and I can actually afford to live there. You know, it doesn't always work out that way directly. Like I've seen studies where the like where rent controlled units can influence rents to go up, and I've seen rent controlled units influence rents to go down. But the most consistent thing is that when you have rent controlled units, the rent for those rent controlled units is lower than in the surrounding area, right? Which is kind of tautological to say because it's like, well, it's rent control. That's literally what the policy is. Duplicate. I'll do this race and then I'll go back to custom track, I think. And in Congress right now, though, there is a law that like gets us part of the way there. That would like, it would ban companies like Google and Facebook and Amazon from buying single-family houses and stuff, which is not much, but it is something, right? Like that's important. Yeah. And actually, for once, if this bill passes, for sure, but then even if it doesn't pass, which it very well might not, I think the next real estate crisis is going to be commercial real estate because there's a lot of offices. Ever since COVID, there's a lot of offices that have just been like straight up abandoned and stuff. And eventually that's not a sustainable thing to just have abandoned office buildings. Eventually, like, that's going to come to a head. You know? In fact, I saw some stuff where the DC government... I live right next to Washington, DC. And the government there, the local government, is thinking about, like, buying that, like, commercial real estate and turning it into affordable housing, like rent-controlled housing, which would be pretty cool. Hidden banana spot. Everybody's seen that TWD video that plays Mario Kart. In fact, I think that video is important, not necessarily even for the specific locations that it lists for you to put a banana, but for the theory of the hidden banana spot. The idea just being that like there are certain turns and certain things that can make it impossible to see what's coming on a given turn, or at the very least super difficult. And if you put a banana there, banana is a very small item, it's possible to not see that item until you're right on top of it, you know? And that means that like there are so many more hidden banana spots than just what exists on this track on Koopa Cape. That's what TWD showed in that video. You know, but if you execute the hidden banana spot correctly, they have to know that there's a banana there, like basically before they even go for the turn. Or before they like hit a ramp or whatever. And that's like that slope that I put the banana on in Koopa Cape actually made it impossible to see the banana. You know, you wouldn't be able to see that until you're already on the slope. Please connect me to a room. Please. Jeez. This is no slight to you, DWT89, but I'm not usually a huge fan of 1v1s, you know? It's like there's not enough stuff that happens. I guess I'll just go back into here. In fact, this works not just with bananas, the hidden banana spot stuff. That works with fake item boxes too. But you have to have a lot more of an obstruction leading up to the corner in order for that to work with a fake item box, because they're much bigger. You know, you'd be able to see them a lot easier. Very populous states here seeing a big increase in homelessness. Ultimately, I think, you know, to conclude the issue about homelessness and the housing crisis, I think the reason that homelessness happens at all is because housing is a commodity in America and in most countries. You know, having housing be used and marketed and like treated as a commodity makes it so that like it's treated well like a lot of other commodities. For example, a computer or like a nice coat, something that not everybody has and not everybody can afford to buy. With other commodities that aren't housing, that's a little bit more understandable that like, okay, you know, it's just a thing that you like, you don't need it to survive, right? There's not necessarily anything that would kill you about putting a barrier between you and like any given commodity. But when that's housing, that is actually a matter of life and death. You know, because housing is not a toy; it's a necessity. 100cc, and I didn't get a box. Oh, I can't believe none of those hit me. Ooh. Oh, I got hit by the minecart. Poor bastard. So basically, we need decommodified housing because everybody needs a place to live. Everybody doesn't need a mansion, but everybody does need a house. Or like an apartment or whatever. And until that happens, there's just going to keep being housing crisis after housing crisis after housing crisis. Like, this cycle is never going to end until you address that fundamental problem. You know. That's always, like, what's going through my head when I see stories about, like, oh, these companies are buying housing, or, like, oh, homelessness has reached this amount. It always stems from, like, the same fundamental issue that we treat housing like a toy. I'm driving pretty well this race. I mean, granted, these are regular tracks, so it's the stuff that you just know in the game. That's another semi-hidden banana spot there on that boost panel. Of course, if you're going slow enough, you do have time to react to it. Right, hit somebody. Now this one, this is more of a true hidden banana spot. I don't know if I executed that correctly, but... Yay! How fun. I don't know what this says about me, but I think I do a lot better on 100cc races than on 150cc. I don't know. At least that's what I've noticed this time. Let's go next race. Random. Let's do random. I like the random. I just realized, I think... Oh, didn't mean to do that. Make that a tiny bit smaller. There we go. I had been meaning to do that, because it can, like... It can obstruct the item roulette thing at times, and I don't want that. Let's see if it worked this time, if I made it small enough that you can see the full... Maybe? We'll see. We'll see. Not quite. I might need to make it just a touch smaller after this race. What's up, Daisy? I think that was basically unavoidable. Me getting there. Nice. What, Bill? Okay, it's back there. Ah! I tried to go inside, but it didn't let me. Nice. Okay. Oh, that was good. That was a good shock for me. Alright, time to do the golden strat on 100cc. It's a little bit different than the one on 150. Okay. Throw that forward, why not? Like I'm gonna find a especially all that better use for it. And they got blue shelled, so now I'm in first. Which could be good or bad. Okay, this is where things get pretty dangerous, I think. I need an item box very badly. Can I get this one? I can. Alright, nice. That was the weirdest line possible, but it ended up working out. True. Okay. Second place. I'll do one more race of regular tracks, and then I'll try the custom track worldwides again to see if anybody is online. It is a weekday and it is afternoon, but I can hope, you know? Oh hey, who wants to hear about something confirming what I said about progressivism in the global north versus in the global south? Yeah? I talked a little bit about how Thailand had legalized gay marriage, which is very cool, and that since it's the first country to do so independent of like Western colonial powers and whatever, that could be a trend of the global south getting a bit more progressive at the same time as the global north is regressing, like backsliding a bit. And the well, the backslide is definitely seems to be coming. You know, this is a thread on Twitter from who is it? Populism updates. Here we go. Yeah. Jeez, I have to come back to this. But the long and the short of that thread was basically that 2024 is coming up, and that is an election year, and in Europe it seems the far right is projected to gain a significant amount of ground in those elections. Unfortunately, of course, you hate to see it, I guess, but this is from a lot of political pollsters, which obviously I have a record of distrusting. But but if their data is indicative of anything at all, then this is cause for some concern, methinks. True. I have to. Man. Am I gonna just... Okay. No, 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 no! Classic Luigi circuit. I still got third? That's kind of crazy. That's pretty crazy. Alright, I'm gonna try the custom tracks again. See if anybody's online. CT worldwide. Come on. Anybody? I guess now that gives me some time to look at this thread. Here's a thread. What to know about a potential far-right surge in EU 2024 elections. Germany, France, and Italy, largest country by seats in the EU Parliament, all have strong far-right parties. AFD, Alternative for Germany, polls 22%. French and Italian far-right in the mid-30% range. And of course, the French and Italian far-right is divided among more than one party. In France, it's the Republicans and the National Front, or the National Gathering, I believe they call themselves now. Something like that. EU seats will be increased to 720 in 2024. Okay, that's the Parliament going to get more seats in general. Yeah, here we go. All right, nice. Some actual people in this room. Very cool. That guy's me is just named United States. Sick. Um, the far right is divided between three groups: ECR, home to Meloni, the Polish Piss Party, and ID. Okay, so Salvini, AfD, and Le Pen, along with various unaffiliated parties. That's where you'll find the extreme right, but also other parties that haven't managed to fit anywhere else. For example, Italy's five-star movement. The sector should be watched, though, because some very extreme parties can make it in the next parliament. The latest Politico projection is 182 seats for ECR and ID. That's the first far-right group, along with 51 for NI and etc. So that's the second far-right group. So that means 230-something seats for the far-right in the European Parliament, which is not great. Compare that to the EPP at 175 and the S&D at 145. EPP, I believe, is the center liberal party. And then S&D stands for Socialists and Democrats, which would be the left bloc. Hard or far-right members of European Parliament would be larger than the two major groups, although they definitely vary and have disagreements between them. That's why they don't have one concerted group despite years of efforts. That's right. Actually, there's one thing that you need to remember always about the far right, and that is that at the institutional level, they are incompetent buffoons. Does this mean they are not scary? No, they're still pose a serious threat to democracy and to racial, ethnic minorities in each country, and they pose a threat to poor people and queer communities, etc. But far-righters are very bad at coalition building, usually. Especially so the longer they've been trying to do it. Because the far-right operates mostly on the in-group, out-group dynamic, and the sort of the dynamics of relative power, they for lack of sufficient outgroups, right? When things have remained relatively constant for long enough, the far right will actually create new outgroups. And a lot of the time, that ends up treading on the toes of other people in the far right. So that starts a lot of infighting within the far right at an institutional level. We've actually seen this in the U.S. Republican Party, where there's been a small but very vocal minority of Republicans who, despite no substantive disagreement on their part, have been super petulant and oppositional to the more establishment Republican bloc. We've seen this in, I believe, the Netherlands. The far-right government collapsed, or the right-wing government collapsed over there over squabbles about how anti-immigrant each other was. And then that happened again once another right-wing party took power. And now there's going to be other far-right party taking power, and it might happen again. And of course, also, this happened in Finland. The far right does not do well in government when it has to coalition build and it has to abide by democratic norms, which is why it usually wants to abolish those norms, as a political bloc, among other reasons, And it's as much as it's weird to say, socialists and centrists, for all of their disagreements, and by centrists I mean mostly liberals, have an easier time coalition building than people within the far right. Despite their many differences. Does that kind of coalition building pose problems of its own? Yes, but they're able to engage with that more than the far right is. So it's not Jover just yet for the European Parliament. I mean, the European Parliament basically doesn't do anything, but if the far right takes over, that wouldn't be good for sure. It's not Jover yet, but this is a sort of raised eyebrow, oh shit, we need to be paying attention and we need to be combating against the far right and the circumstances that led to them taking power, which in a lot of countries' cases would be like neoliberalism, blah blah. It gets more complicated the more you go into it, but the gist of it is the far right is advancing in Europe, but they are retreating in many other parts of the world. And their advance will be checked by their own incompetence. At least that's the hope. And I mean, there's certainly historical precedent to show that, with at least since the end of World War II. In fact, that's a large part of like why far right parties are so jingoistic. Well, I mean, fascism is very war oriented, right? But a lot of times when fascist parties get into power, they actually need a good war or a good conflict to be manufactured in order for them to maintain support for themselves. You know? This might be a strange take to hear, but I think if through whatever combination of historical circumstances, if World War II did not happen, like let's say through some machination, Germany was like held accountable, and their territorial gains were stopped short, like Anschluss, and then that's it, then eventually the far right would have actually fallen out of power, despite it being like a, brutal dictatorship and whatever. The Nazis really did need World War II to manufacture support for themselves. They just weren't like very. They just didn't have anything to offer in peacetime, In fact, this is part of why Putin went to war in Ukraine, is because he didn't have that much to offer in peacetime. He had, it was more than Yeltsin, but that is not a high bar, No, I hit the wall. Dang it. I was feeling it too much when I was taking those turns super tight. That was a really good low trick. That gained me a little bit of time, actually. Might be gaining a little bit of ground on this guy, funnily enough. Yeah, there's the blue shell. Sorry, but I, had to do it to him. What a race. I think this might be the best I've raced all stream. You know what enabled me to gain so much time on him? I was actually paying attention to how tight I was taking each corner. That's where I think on custom tracks, the Mach Bike actually gains a lot of time on the Flame Runner. Because on this track, there are a few U-turns, but then the Mach Bike has an easier time clearing things where you need to get air, and it has an easier time taking tight turns, even with just the 90-degree turns. I think I drive super well. Or drove, excuse me, drived, yes. Really well that race. me see, how far does this thread continue for? The wildest potential here is for some kind of continent-wide wave or polling over performance. In 2019, there was a speculation that could happen, but it did not materialize at all. It should still be considered a possibility, though, even if it's unlikely. Overall polling situation for the far right is much stronger now. Yeah, that's right. The far right is stronger now than it was in 2019, unfortunately. And if they manage to coalesce, then that could be bad. But it could also be an instance where they kind of fizzle out at the ballot box, which hopefully will be the case. You know, I certainly don't think any of us want the far right to win at the European polls. I think I actually had to jump in order to make that, which is kind of crazy. Ooh. True. I should have seen that coming. I have a mushroom, but I'm not like going to do the shortcut here. I'm gonna take the regular route. In fact, I might even chain this because I don't have much use for it right now. Okay, yeah, that's better. Oh, he messed up. Nice. That's also another reason why I use Mach Bike. That section is a lot easier on Mach Bike than it is on Bowser Bike. Ah, blue shell. Cool. Ah, I didn't quite get him there. This guy and I are battling it out. Very weird. Very weird. Oh, is that somebody in last? I think it is. That's unfortunate. Imagine. Okay. If that hit, that would have been insane. Ooh, another blue shell. Don't mind if I do. No, I got bean cornered. No! Ah, jeez. Okay, that's unfortunate. No, that's so bad. Oh, well. I totally blew it lap 3, but lap 1 and 2 were pretty good. What else we got? Oof. Man. 7 players? I'll stick with this room, sure. What else I want to talk about? Oh, yeah. In the US, a few months ago, student loan payments were unpaused. And at the time, I was thinking, like, this is such a dumb policy move. It would result in, like, basically debt riots, right? And unfortunately, I was wrong in predicting that. It seems that, like, at least right away, things didn't, like, fall apart. But, things are not going smoothly, let's say. And this might eventually culminate in something pretty significant in terms of, like, protests or something like that. I saw this post from Aaron Reed, friend of the channel. She doesn't know it, but she's very cool. So, to me, she's a friend of the channel. 40% of all people miss their first student loan payment since the pause. The measures student loan companies can go to in order to get their money can be extreme. You can't discharge in bankruptcy. This is a ticking time bomb. So, to be clear, what she's referring to there is that in the United States, if you have student loan debt, you actually can't just discharge it by going bankrupt. Like, that's not a thing you can do, unfortunately. You know, like, you're just saddled with that debt until the day you die. And when you die, they will try to saddle your kids with that debt. Are they allowed to legally do that? No, but that doesn't stop them from trying. I guess, although I was not correct about this immediately spilling over. I guess in retrospect, that was kind of a foolish prediction on my part. You know, relatively idealistic. I think I was correct in terms of the broader pattern that, like, this is unsustainable and this is not going to lead anywhere good. I'll dodge Vinny, why not? And, you know, ultimately, this is going to result in something down the line. You know? Just much more in the long run than I initially thought. How did I miss that ramp? Hello? It's kind of crazy. I'm just hoping for a blue shell at this point. And then once this race is done, I can actually get to the news article accompanying this, because Aaron Reed was actually quoting the headline. Oh, well, speak to the devil. Oh, wait, I might have used that to... Oh, no, okay, but it got him, it got him. Aaron Reed was actually quoting the headline of a Politico news article. And I'll see what they have to say about this in a moment. Oh, what the... That's kind of wild. fruit. I raced all right that time. It was good. So Politico. 40% of student loan borrowers miss payments in October. New data suggests that borrowers are experiencing a significantly higher level of delinquency and distress than they did before the pandemic. And the data confirms that millions of Americans are relying on a temporary safety net program that the Biden administration created to help borrowers who struggle to make payments. Damn, it's almost like that temporary safety net really should have been made permanent. This is a common theme, if you'll notice, with a lot of the stuff that comes in the form of economic crises these days, with the housing crisis and now this. A lot of the factors that ended up pushing these issues from being issues into being full-blown crises is the fact that there were temporary measures adopted during the pandemic to create a stronger social safety net and ensure like economic stability, financial stability for a lot of people who were in like the way lower income brackets, but they were only temporary. So when they were revoked, all of those benefits went out the window. And it makes me really pissed because, like, I know that it's not being revoked because they're dumb and don't understand the benefits of this sort of policymaking. People in power, people in politics, do understand exactly what this kind of policymaking can bring, the kind of benefits that it confers on society. And they just revoke it anyway because they don't care, Or maybe people are just that stupid. Anyways. Some 22 million borrowers had a payment due at some point in October, but roughly 8.8 million of them missed their payments. That's wild. Ow. Oh, and that's even by mid-November. Like, these payments were due in October, and I just looked. And that 40% number is people who, like, their payments have like, they still haven't paid. Well, maybe some of them paid by this month, because now it's mid-December, but, like, in mid-November, they still had unpaid student loan debt and shit. Now, I know where I want to use this, but it's entirely possible that the shock happens and ruins my day. Yeah, well, what I tell you. And then I ruin that guy's day. Sorry. Ooh, Mega Mushroom. This is pretty good. Dude, this is such a huge shortcut. Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't believe I got away with doing that all on a Mega Mushroom. Get rid of that banana. Oh, he had a mushroom as well? Dang. Rip. I had to fight for that one. So this 40% number, let's see, is a much higher rate of missing payments than the same stretch of time in the months leading up to the pandemic. So more people are struggling with their student loans now and are struggling to a more severe degree than before the pandemic even started, which is insane to think about. The Education Department emphasized that the majority of borrowers successfully paid their first monthly payment. Oh, joy. You have successfully plundered millions back into debt. Sure. Real proud of you, Education Department. Say, you wouldn't perhaps consider canceling that debt, would you? Ever cross your mind that maybe, debt over a matter such as education is pretty fucking stupid, and these are times where you need a higher education, and so you shouldn't do that anymore. Shouldn't be able to get away with that. In fact, it didn't used to be this way. As is the case with literally everything wrong in America, it is Reagan's fault. In the 1970s, the origin of this policy, where you had to pay through the nose to get into to go through college, was that immediately post-integration, so like in the wake of the Civil Rights and Voting Rights Act being passed, all of a sudden there were a lot more people who were eligible to go to college. Racial minorities and women in increasing numbers were getting college educations all throughout the 20th century. And in California, when the Republicans took power, when Ronald Reagan was the governor, they were like, this is a big problem, especially during the Vietnam War. They were like, we don't want uppity, educated blacks on campus. In fact, that was specifically, I might be paraphrasing an actual quote from Reagan, that they didn't want the black underclass to get uppity through having some degree of consciousness from higher education and whatnot. So, whether it was Reagan or his Republican comrades in the state legislature, the Republican Party in California introduced new laws and gradually stripped universities of their ability to be publicly funded. In fact, they dismantled the system of public higher education that did exist. So now, no matter who you were, you had to pay to go to college, like an insane amount of money too. And of course, as is the case with a lot of race-blind racism, this disproportionately affected black people, because who were the people who were more likely to be poor? Black people. And also women and other outgroup minorities and such, And now as a result of that, there's this bizarre system of debt incursion and shit in college, because they couldn't just let black people go to college. They had to fucking mess up the entirety of America. That's a subtle banana spot, but it's not a hidden banana spot, per se. Oh, I'm gonna get... Yep. I have a feeling. Yep. It's going for him. Oh, never mind. I won. I win the race. Unless there's something laggy about that. And then he actually passed me at the line or something. What a fucking joke. The Undersecretary of Education said, some are confused or overwhelmed about their options. We want to make sure borrowers know that our top priority is to support student loan borrowers as they return to repayment. Dude, if the Department of Education was actually worried about supporting student borrowers, they would cancel the debt. And I guarantee you that they're not providing monetary assistance to people that need to repay loans. Because you know what? I've been on the like outside looking in and the inside looking out of like financial aid and shit. You know, all the financial aid that you can get, at least 90+% of it, is more loans. So more than likely what's going on, yes, maybe there's some piddly little $6,000 grant from the 1960s that you could get to like pay down part of your college tuition. But the most likely thing that's happening is that the Department of Education is like, you got loans, that sucks. But here, if you take this other loan at a slightly lower interest rate, then you'll still be in debt, but it's like a little bit less bad. No, you fucking idiot, cancel the debt. You have the authority to give a loan to them. Why wouldn't you have the authority to cancel the... Fuck, whatever. And I should add that the only reason that the Department of Ed is saying that they're willing to support these students at all is because they have the authority to do so. These are federal student loans, which means that the government has the authority to like, update or cancel or give more of these loans. It's so dumb. I hit the ceiling, dang. That was a good target shock to hit second, which was me, because that blue shell was going for first. I think that was actually the smartest thing that they could have done there, more or less. I can never figure out how to do that shortcut properly. I have one mushroom in fourth. That's not bad, so I think I'm going to just try to hold on to this. Ow. Okay, well, there goes that idea. Dang. I was going to use that POW. I guess the fact that they used the shock there was, like, better for me. That was really scary. Blooper! I love this item. Ow! Idiot. I got the wall trick that time. That's cool. I'm gonna get third. Whew. What a race. Man. We got a decent room, anywhere from 6 to 10 people. Pretty good. For like custom tracks on a weekday. Oh boy, as part of the policy, the education department will not report borrowers as delinquent to credit bureaus through the end of next September, although interest will continue to accrue on their debt. How generous of you not to fucking spit on our stab wound after you've stabbed us. By us, I mean, like, most people. I'm one of the, like, I have to be one of an extremely small percentage of people that went through college with no debt. Jeez, man. There's like 3 kinds of debt that are just fucked up as concepts. Like, you don't even need to think about it or like explain all that hard why those debts are messed up. It's student debt, medical debt, and fucking school lunch debt. Oh shit. I can't believe I made that. Let's see. Oh, I ate a mushroom. Dang. Okay, cool. 3 mushrooms. That's really good for this track. There's a lot of shortcuts that you can do. Dang. It's 1. I think I'm gonna take the other big one that's like coming up over here. No, I fucked it up. Apart from that fuck up, I think I've raced really good this race. Mega mushroom. Sure. Wow, there's a really tight pack behind us. That guy's got full 9s. That's pretty cool for him. Biden administration has been promoting an income-driven repayment option. That's a fucking nice way of saying, just repay your goddamn debt. We're not helping you. Even if there are some like somewhat more beneficial plans, that would enable you to like pay way less per month. Yeah, okay. Lower monthly payments and lower interest accrual. Very gradualistic. Which is better than nothing, but, like, not by much. Really not by much. I think I bumped somebody. They got a bomb. Dude, I was trying to let you pass. That's why I held my mini turbo and didn't, like, wheelie or whatever. Oh well. I'll get a good item here, though. Well, now I'm gonna get a really good item here. Golden mushroom. Pretty good. I think I'm gonna use it at the upcoming grass patches here. Yeah. That'll do well to catch me up. Then lap 3, I'll probably do the same thing if I get an item that permits me to do so. Nobody bag at this item set. I need an item. Yes, perfect. 3 mushrooms. It's not as good as a golden, but I'll take it. Or I'll go wide. This person. Okay, no, the star's gonna run out before they. Okay. I see. Yes. Get me up there. Sorry. Ooh, good gold mushy. Brew. Welcome back, 1v3. Evelcat. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce that. It took me long enough, but jeez. I don't think I drove very well that race. There were a couple, like, there were some key parts where I could have done better or worse, but, like, I think a lot of that also came down to, like, I wasn't driving as well as I could or should have been. I'll just have to drive better next race. Oh, dude, we got, like, almost full room now. That's sick. Snap. Ribbon Road. Oh yeah, that's right. This is a. Sometimes my brain thinks Ribbon Road, and I think to like the older version that was like really good interpretation of the GBA track, but still just a GBA track. But now we got the cool version now. There was one other thing I saw as well that like I think I should fit into stream somewhere. If you can believe it, there's like apparently a lot of people knew who this one guy was. Joe Cat. He makes animations and stuff. But I didn't know who he was, so it's my loss, I guess. He had made a video a couple years ago, I think, about how he likes girls, which is great. I love that for him. In fact, I watched the video, and it was really cute. It was well animated. But apparently, people on Twitter just don't like it when men enjoy things. And particularly don't like it when men enjoy women. This goes a little bit to my point about like straight men really just not liking women, because the right wing had like a yeah. That like the right wing reacted to this guy's video, which came up through some weird machination of like somebody reposted it as like a meme. But like right-wingers reacted to it by saying, like, imagine being gay for women or whatever, like, you know, calling him gay. I thought I had a mushroom. Calling him gay for being enthusiastically into women and appreciating body types and styles and whatever. Hello, Stampy Roblox RL? Am I reading that right? Welcome to chat. Right, that was basically what the, you know, I saw a lot of conservatives saying that about that video. But then a lot of lefties were reacting to it as well, saying like, oh, this objectifies women and shit. It's like, well, no. Are you? I'm doing all right. Better today than yesterday and the day before, for sure, which is nice. Ah, jeez. Stampy Roblox, thank you very much for the follow. Glad to have you here. So that, like, this guy, what was his name? Was Stokecat or something? Joe Cat, there we go. Was, like, getting dunked on by the right for liking women, and getting dunked on from the left for liking women, but their critique was, you're not doing it leftistly, where you know, it was just so fucking weird. And it's reminiscent, honestly, of what happened with Lindsay Ellis, who was a pretty popular YouTuber. Me just eating small cookies from a very racist Dutch holiday. Every tradition in the West is probably at some point like linked to racism and shit like that. You know, it's kind of unavoidable, but I hope the cookies are good. Lindsay Ellis back in the day, and I say back in the day, it was only a few years ago, was bullied so hard by, funnily enough, other like liberals and left-leaning people for like really dumb reasons, that she actually left YouTube. She quit YouTube. She's no longer on YouTube. You know, this is where like the most toxic elements of the online left come into play, and the most, well, every element of the online right comes into play. This like, the reactions I've seen to that video, because he like, all it is just him singing like a parody of Lizzo's Boys, but about girls instead, which is really cute. Come on, worldwide to grind VR online. Nice, good luck with that. I'm here just to race, and then that's about it. It like on one level, it's obviously it's the critiques I've seen levied at that video are like really sex negative. 5.1k VR. We stand a low VR king in this chat. That's the, like, one of the biggest through lines I saw was that, like, a lot of people just took an entirely negative view of sex and anything sexualized when they were talking about this guy's video. Like, women couldn't be possibly discussed in a sexual light without it being some objectifying thing, when it was like, oh, what kind of girls do you like? And then he sang a whole ass song about he appreciates all of the various aspects of women's bodies and whatever, which is fucking way less objectifying than any response you would get from any, like, other straight person, probably. You know? My highest is 6K. I'll definitely feel much respect. Much respect all around for our low VR comrades, kings and queens and such. That shock actually kind of saved me. Like, holy hell, dude. Usually, like, when I've heard the, like, stereotypical responses to, like, oh, well, what kinds of women do you like? First of all, it's like, what's your type? And then it's like, oh, my type is X. It's like, it's almost as if, like, it's almost as if the only way that it like, people are capable of perceiving women and men as well being discussed is within, like, two-dimensional or even one-dimensional stereotypes. And then this guy rattles off a whole bunch of things that he likes about women, and that, like, there are all sorts of different women out there, and people shit a brick because he's not being patriarchal and misogynistic and whatever. Using a Wii wheel, we love to see it. That shit is hard. I used to use a Wii wheel, and I would not be able to go back to it today. Way too difficult for me. Whew. Drove pretty decently that time. I think I'm happy with it. Y2K not losing a wheel? Ouch. I do not know what that means, but I will agree. This room kind of blew up all of a sudden. The chain wheelies are easier. I can imagine that would be the case. Because I think there has to be more room for you to, like, buffer the input. It's something like that. Hurts my Mario Kart loving soul. The part about me using a Wii wheel or, like, not using it anymore? The no more part? Yeah? Oh, well, I'm sorry I hurt your Mario Kart soul. However, I don't think that's enough to convince me to start using the Wii wheel again. It might take a little bit more than that. You know? We'll see when I get later into streaming. I guess the bottom line about what I wanted to say about Joe Cat is that it's really weird that, like, people have this reaction to when men express genuine enjoyment and appreciation for, like, the opposite sex, instead of either A, overtly objectifying them by, like, just viewing them as, like, a something to be conquered, or like, B, prostrating yourself and being like, I as a white man need to shut up and listen. Whatever the woke school types are on about these days. Oh, that's a thing? I didn't know you could drive in the middle of that. Give me item, please. Yes. Mushrooms. Cool. I'm gonna go this way. Oh, dude, this is way faster. What have I been doing the whole time? Hello? Okay, this was very bizarre. Yeah, I got bumped. All right, let's try this again. Round 2. So I gotta think. Yeah, that is so much faster. Wow. Can't believe I haven't been doing that this whole time. I actually passed 2 people with that. That is the power of the mock bike on custom tracks. Let it be known. What's up? Got him. Probably gonna get second here. Yeah. I think I drove pretty well that race. I figured out a lot about that track just from racing it over and over again, which is cool. Because now it's way more satisfying to drive, do a lot more flips and stuff. Enough about that. Enough about the online drama. So. Actually, no, you know what? I'm not done yet. I'm going to explain exactly what my thoughts are on people's reactions to the Joe Cat video. If you haven't watched it, you should go watch it. It's real short. It's real cute, I think. People reacting to it the way that they have, right? Reacting to Joe Cat, saying that he likes girls. He likes all different kinds of attributes that girls have, and he just likes girls in general. And you know, that's all well and good. The reactions to that are, on one level, they're misogynistic because it's fucking, like, I've seen an insane level of man-hating coming from people reacting to that. Like, just the concept of a guy enjoying something is, like, completely foreign to people. On that note, it is also patriarchal because it perpetuates certain stereotypes that men and women have to fall into. You know, where like, it's not acceptable for guys to show this kind of emotion and portray themselves in any sort of subservient position to women. It is like, or actually, I mix up my words. It is misandristic. It is man-hating, and then it is also misogynistic. You got first, good shit, good job. It is also misogynistic because it assumes that, like, women are just a token that they need to haggle over and have no agency in the matter. Where, I mean, you could like ask somebody how they feel about that. That's an option, you know. You don't have to just decide that, like, you know, anybody wouldn't like somebody for saying that they appreciate all kinds of bodies and they just really like girls and whatever. You don't have to do that. And like I said, it is insanely sex negative because it like, a lot of what people were reacting to is just the presence of any appreciation of sex and sexuality at all, you know, which is a fucking bizarre thing that I see, especially in, like, within progressive and, like, nominally feminist movements. Like, it vexes me to no end, man. There's a shortcut coming up here. Yeah, look at this. Whee. Nice. This turn is also a lot tighter than it seems at first. Whew. Okay, I made it through that part. Shortcut, kind of. It's not so much a shortcut as it is just like a slightly faster route. That's mostly the same conventional route. Cool. That last part was really weird and kind of sloppy, but I think it went well. 7 viewers, sheesh. Yeah, it dropped back down to 3. I think it because I talk about politics and shit, people tend to leave, but I'm not stopping. Ain't typing that big message for you to accidentally skip. Yes, that's right. Sorry, I totally forgot. Some days ago, MatPat told us how people lost those programs, what not to talk about, making us use a much worse topic that's left over, being the hate on topics like politics, queer issues, the news, conspiracy theories, you name them. People lost those programs and what not to talk about. I don't 100% understand what you mean by that. Could you clarify for me a little bit? I dare you to watch it, the MatPat video, to clear up what I mean. Yeah, for sure. May I join you? Yeah, I'll let you know when. I'll let you know when to join the CT Worldwide. You want to do it as we're like. Well, I don't have a friend code command, but I can give you my friend code in a bit. Here, after this race, I'll actually... After this race, because enough people have come into the room and done the exclamation point FC thing, after this race, maybe I'll quit out from the Worldwides very briefly. And it is towards the end of stream anyway. And I'll create a friend code command on Nightbot so that people can use that in the future. What a fitting track to end it on, too. This might be... I think this has graduated from one of my favorite custom tracks to potentially my favorite custom track in the whole pack. You know, like I explained what I like about Dry Ruins, even though I constantly mistook the name for Dry Desert, which is kind of an oopsie, and how there's like a certain combination of factors that result in like, you know, I could just play this track all day. My FC, okay. I'll look you up after this race, and I'll add a command for the friend code thing. Got him. That was really risky. So I could have got myself too, but I ended up not, so all well and good. I got that guy. He's gonna throw that back. Or maybe not. Nice try, but I'm actually going inside the banana. Got him. All right, here we go. Okay, I'm fine with him being in first because that means then I at least don't take a blue shell. Oh, he fell off. Poor bastard, dude. I'm very satisfied with how I raced that that track. All right. Now, with all said and done, it's almost the end of stream. So let's go to Nightbot. And I will first. I'll go look up my friend code. I'll try. Back in like the 70s, we used to watch one episode that everyone had to watch, or else we'd miss out on something all other people would watch. That therefore makes us feel isolated, lonely. But now with social media platforms giving us so much to see, and also so much more unsocial distances between each other, we're feeling more depressed and alone than ever. Yeah, okay, yes, I agree with that. Yeah. And you said it was a MatPat video. Maybe I'll take a look at that. That sounds interesting. Stamp your Roblox. There's my friend code on screen if you're still interested. Now let me go to commands, and I will actually I should write this down in a text document first. What I was going to do, MatPat video on social media / isolation. There we go. It's definitely in the cards that I'm going to do more video react and review content because people really like that, it seems. Let's add a new one. Let's add !FC message Y2K's friend code for Mario Kart Wii is this. There we go. User level, everybody. That looks good. And I will now also edit the help command to include FC. FC. There we go. Submit. There we go. All right, let's go, and I will register a friend. This is the final order of business for this stream. Have a good one. Love the MatPat video getting added, and as always, laters. See you later. Thanks for turning out for stream. Let's let me scroll back up to see friend code. Okay. Friend code registered. All right. In that case, let me disconnect from the server. I'll see if there's anybody live that I would like to raid. And I'll see you guys on the next stream. Who is? Oh, Cody's live. Let's go. If you guys like Super Smash Bros, you will love this guy. /raid Cody Schwab. Yeah, I'll see you guys. I stream every other day, so I will be back on Wednesday. Same time, same place.